Hi, time for another cancer health update. I did have an MRI at the end of October and the results were overall very good. There's no spread, no new cancer spots, and the spots that have been previously treated are continuing to shrink and not show activity in them. And so I'm very excited about that victory. Thank you for everybody who's praying for my healing. So in the last video, I talked about having to come off these steroids that I've been on way too long to manage the side effects from the immunotherapy treatments. And so I have done that. It hasn't gone very well. As I've weaned off, my body basically has mimicked the symptoms of autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, Sjogren's disease. And so I've been immobilized, in pain, and not in the hospital though, that's good. And so they're holding off on my treatments for now till we get an alternative to steroids that will control the side effects. So we're in that process of figuring that out in the next few weeks. So be praying that there is an alternative to steroids. I'm also, open to natural things, and I'm always looking for natural teas and foods and things I can drink and consume that will help as well. So in the midst of, it's been like 4 weeks that I've been dealing with this, coming off steroids and side effects. And so I'll have these little windows of time where I feel pretty good. So I'll find something productive to do. One of the things that I really need to do is to go through old tubs and boxes and things we've saved, keepsakes, things like that over the years. And you can imagine, after living in 4 different houses within the span of 12 months, I'm ready to lighten our load. And so I've been going through, tubs and stuff that I've saved throughout my life, things from my kids, things from my marriage, whatever. I had this really unexpected blessing happen in the midst of going through one of those tubs. I had saved a tub of things from like high school and college, those kind of keepsakes. And I purged some of it, but I ended up finding a lot of handwritten notes from my friends and family that I didn't know I still had. And it was so cool to read their words of encouragement. It's like they were telling me right now in this time all over again. Handwritten notes are a rare thing in this day and age. I mean, I don't write notes. I send an audio clip to somebody if I want to tell them something longer than I want to text. And so we just don't do that as often. And what really touched me was when I found notes from my mom and notes from my dad. Both of my parents have passed away. My dad many, many years ago, my mom several years ago. So I've been without them for quite a while. And as soon as I saw each of their handwriting, it was like a piece of them was in the room with me again. It's amazing how that familiarity of their handwriting touches you and brings you back to their presence. So as I started to read their notes, it was like I was having a family reunion. They were back in the room and chatting with me again and encouraging me. And these notes were all about how much they loved me, how proud they were of me, how they believed in me and I could do whatever I set my mind to. And it was so therapeutic and ministered to my soul. And it was a great, unexpected blessing. I was not excited. It's not my idea of fun to sit down and purge boxes and reorganize, but this was incredible. So in those boxes, I had found a little framed verse that my mom had given me probably at either my high school graduation or my college graduation. And it's this one right here. It has Psalm 37:4, which says, "Delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart." I don't know if you noticed on that, but the color scheme is classic 80s and 90s home decor. Lots of mauves and pastels and light blue mixed in there with hearts, and exactly how my mom had her house. And at the time I liked it too, but it just brought me back. So I did not purge that verse. It's sitting in my room now where I can see it, remember my mom. But after I purged and, came into rest, that verse kept going through my head for days. And I thought, well, I'm gonna find out some more about that verse. So I was like, I wonder, why did David write that verse? So I went ahead or that chapter. I went ahead and read all of the chapter, and what I discovered is that most of my life I've tended to view that verse in kind of a narrow mindset or shallow ways. And because what sticks out to most people in that verse is that God will give us the desires of our heart. And, I think if our desires don't match up with his desires, I believe those aren't really the desires he's talking about in that verse that to grant us. I mean, really, come on. I have wanted a 1960s red convertible Mustang since I was a teenager, and I have never been able to have one, but I still desire one. I don't think that's what this verse is talking about. So I dove in to the verses, and I read the first part of that chapter, and I was like, oh, this was written to me for today. Because over the past few months, I guess, I had been really fretting and maybe feeling sad about and worrying about the negativity of some people. And I really was like going to a place in my mind where I was gonna like plot how to counter respond to their negativity in a way that would set them in their place. And, things I thought would be impressive, and shut down the negativity. But in that whole process, which isn't bad, I mean, it's not bad to dislike negativity, but in that whole process, I was never asking myself, well, I wonder how Jesus would handle these comments or these attitudes or what these people are saying, or how does God view these people or these organizations right now in this time, and how do I line up with that as I respond to them? And that part I wasn't doing at all. So as I read Psalm 37, this is what David said. And David was older when he wrote this book, so he's speaking from his own experience and his own observations of the righteous living among the wicked, and the wicked prospering in their evil deeds, and the righteous suffering, and how to live that way and still have peace and love God and serve and do good. So it says, do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. Because like the grass, they'll soon wither, like green plants, they will soon die away. And that was the mindset I was guilty of. I was just focusing on those negative things. But thankfully, the next few verses gave me some direction and some hope for how to kind of remedy this mindset I was in. Because it says, trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pastures. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteousness shine. He will make your righteous reward shine like the new dawn, and your vindication like the noonday sun. So my vindication, my victory, it belongs to God. He's in charge of it. I'm not the one that's supposed to make that happen. I'm supposed to focus in on him. So when we commit our ways to the Lord, and we commit to living like Christ and delight in him, it becomes reality that we are in alignment with the Lord's desires and his mindset, and spending time and energy in praying, studying, and then practicing doing God's truth that's in his word strengthens and builds our relationship with him, so that he can trust us to carry the desires of his heart in our very own hearts. And it's like we partner with him to fulfill these desires. That's incredible, I think. And that's how I interpret this. And so in doing so, We're blessed to be able to step into living the best versions of ourselves and the best versions of this life that we are given in this time. And also, I find it really important to note that our relationship with God is the one thing we can take with us when we leave the earth. And like the grass that withers away, and that David was talking about early in the chapter, the things that the world views as valuable, the titles they hold, the things they acquire, they don't go with them when they leave the earth. It's our relationship with God that goes with us. And so if we develop that here on earth and we build that, we get to experience the joy and the delight of that here and not just in heaven, which I think is fabulous. And even in the midst of something as hard as stage 4 cancer or divorce or loss, there's so much loss and suffering in our world. And this is one of the keys to unlocking being able to delight in the Lord through those trials. And I have opened up some of that through this journey, and I'm so thankful that I had that opportunity to do that. So thank you, bless you. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you for listening to my journey and my, faith discoveries that I'm interpreting out of what God teaches me. Bless you. Bye.